So the question is, how do you create more motivation in your life? What is motivation? Where do we get it from? And what do we do when we're feeling completely unmotivated? Hey, I'm Heather and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a place where I coach busy moms who want to grow their business with more heart and less hustle. And today we're talking all about the mystical creature of motivation. How do we stay motivated to take action in our business, especially when things aren't going well, especially when we're having a hard day, especially when it's that time of the month? How do we get motivated then? And if you've been around here for any amount of time, you know the answer already, which is that motivation is an emotion. And what creates our emotions? It's our thoughts. So the good news is you are just one thought away from motivation at any time. It's not this thing you have to wait for it to come like an asteroid and hit you and then take it and run. You can actually create it. You can produce motivation with the way that you're thinking. But before we talk about the kinds of thoughts that help create motivation, I want to talk about the things that don't create motivation. And to do that, I want to share a little bit of my story. When I first started my business back in September of 2019, I did it because our family was in a financial situation where I really wanted to contribute. I wanted to help pay the bills. I wanted to take some of the stress and pressure off of my husband. And in our 12 years of marriage at that point, I had never had to work. But I wanted to help. And so I had motivation based on the thought, I can contribute to our family's income. I can relieve some of this stress and pressure. And so I started my business, and if you've heard me talk about it before, I created a 6-figure business in my first year, working only 2.5 days a week. The motivation that I had created that result. But now I have to tell you, I didn't always feel motivated. There was a lot of times in that year where I tried things. I reached out to people and they said no. The things I tried didn't work. I put a webinar out there and only got 50 people registered, or had lots of people register and only 1 or 2 people bought. Even just 2 months ago, I did a webinar and 0 people signed up. I went from 1 month having 17 new people sign up for my membership to the next month having none. And let me tell you that messes with your head. I know when things aren't externally working, it's really easy to lose our motivation. But here's what's not going to help you. What's not going to help you is, number one, telling yourself that it's because of those circumstances that you're not feeling motivated. I've seen this many times in myself and in my clients, is we look at our sales or we look at our numbers and we feel unmotivated. But the truth is that in between that circumstance of our numbers in our business and the feeling of not being motivated, there's a thought. And for me, that thought has been, this isn't working. Lovely little thought that keeps presenting itself over and over and over again. And guess what that thought doesn't create? It doesn't create motivation. Our circumstances are never the cause of our lack of motivation. So that's the first thing to stop telling yourself, is that because of the PMS or because of the money or because of the people or the thing that happened or the DM that I got from that troll on the internet, now I don't feel motivated. Because of the restrictions, because of COVID, because of the pandemic, because I can't travel, now I don't feel motivated. It's just not true. And when you're telling yourself that, you are staying in a place of powerlessness in your life and your business. So own the fact that the story you are telling yourself is what is creating the motivation or not. Another thing that doesn't work to create motivation is shaming yourself for that story that you're telling yourself. Let me explain. So if you're telling yourself that your business is not working based on the numbers or the results that you're getting, telling yourself, I shouldn't be saying it's not working. This is what happens to a lot of us when we start to gain a certain level of awareness about our thoughts, when we start to own that it's our story that is creating the emotion in our life. We start to shame ourselves for that story. So instead of just feeling like it's not working and feeling unmotivated because of that, we add on top of that, and I shouldn't be telling myself it's not working, and then we feel shame about that, and it makes it doubly hard to get motivated. I know, you guys, I am literally living this right now. My brain is telling me this story, and then I'm shaming my brain for telling me this story. So the very first step in reconnecting with that motivation is to stop shaming yourself for not feeling motivated. Stop shaming yourself for feeling scared, for feeling unsure, for feeling discouraged. It's okay to not be okay. Feel those big feelings. You are strong enough to process and respond to any emotion. And if you stop shaming yourself, just doing that will start to help you reconnect with the thoughts that are going to help you feel more motivated. I'd love to tell you a story of how this played out with a client that I'm working with right now. So she has a Peloton. She bought herself a Peloton so that she could get her workout on, get her sweat on, and do it from the comfort of her own home. And that Peloton sits right in her office. But recently she hasn't been riding that Peloton. And every single time she comes into her office, she sees that thing and she feels immediately guilty. She shames herself and tells herself, why did you spend all that money on that thing? You aren't even using it. You should be using it. You should be getting on that bike every day. You would feel better. And it all sounds so true, and it sounds like it should be motivating to tell yourself you're wasting your money if you don't use that thing. But guess what? It's not. Shame is a terrible motivator for the long haul. It works sometimes in the moment for a little while, but when we use shame to motivate us, it eventually causes us to burn out. So I said to her, for 1 week, I don't want you to make it a goal to get on the Peloton. I just want you to tell yourself a different story every time you see it. Instead of telling yourself, I should be on there, I'm wasting money if I don't, blah, 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 and feeling guilt and shame, I just want you to thank yourself for buying it. Thank yourself for investing in your health every single time you see that bike. For 1 week, that's all I'm asking you to do, is just think one thought that's different than what you've been thinking. And what do you know? The next time we met, she said, Heather, I don't know what happened, but that week I got on my bike 5 times. 5 times, from 0 to 5 times in a week, all because she took off the shame. Another client of mine and I were chatting last night, and she was saying, I'm feeling really overwhelmed in my business. I'm feeling really scared. I'm feeling really frustrated with myself. And I know that I shouldn't be scared, and I shouldn't be frustrated, and I shouldn't be overwhelmed because I have the tools and here I am not using them. And I knew right away, as soon as I saw that word should, that she was shaming herself. I said to her, can you love the version of you that's scared and overwhelmed and frustrated? Is she worthy of love? And right away she was like, well, it's really hard for me to love her because I feel like she should be showing up better. And I knew that if we just took off the shame and we could get her to love and accept herself exactly where she was at, it would relieve so much of that frustration and anger and overwhelm that she was feeling. What would it look like to love and accept yourself exactly where you're at today? What would it look like to feel those uncomfortable feelings and not make them mean that something has gone wrong, that something is wrong with you? This is how we connect with motivation. We stop telling ourselves that it's the fault of our circumstances, of all the things that are happening around us, and we take the shame off of ourselves for that story. And then we are in a much better place to find a powerful thought that will create motivation to keep going. And if you want to know how to find powerful thoughts that will create motivation in your life, you are going to have to come back next week and we're going to talk all about it then. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with a friend, take a screenshot of yourself watching this, share it on social media, and tag me. I would love to get the word out to more people so that we can help more women create those heart-centered businesses without hustle. I will see you next week.